Everyone, so have a good time here at our June 19th Tribal Council meeting. Yeah. Ivana, would you please give indication?
Everything. Edora Galandihe, Ijaleli Chisan Kosan Des Giatino, Yona Dejadostan, Heldido Hasnegad, or Swakilo Etalegi Skardu. Father, we just thank you for bringing us together again. We thank you for all your blessings that you have bestowed upon us. I just ask that you be with each and every one that's here, that you give them the traveling grace as we travel home. Lord, we thank you for all your protection and guidance. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Shelley, would you do roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Keith Austin.
Here.
Danny Callison.
Here.
Julia Coates. Here. Sean Crittenden.
Here.
Joe Deere. Mike Dobbins.
Here.
Rex Jordan.
Here.
Johnny Kidwell.
Here.
Daryl Legg. Wes Snowfire. Dora Petskowski.
Here.
Joshua Sam.
Here.
Mike Shambaugh.
Here.
Melvina Shotpouch. E.O. Smith.
Here.
Kendessa Teehee. Victoria Vesquez. We have a quorum.
You've had a chance to look at the minutes from our previous meeting. Could I have a motion, please?
So moved.
We have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, first on the list for our State of the Nation, Principal Chief Chuck Hoskin, Jr.
OCO, members of the council, Mr. Speaker, it's an honor and a privilege to report to you at the June regular council meeting on the state of the Cherokee Nation. And one sign of strength, certainly, Mr. Speaker, is that the United States Supreme Court did the right thing recently. And it did the right thing, yes. It did the right thing, of course, in the Indian Child Welfare Act case known as Burkeen, in which the Cherokee Nation and a number of other tribes played an important role. And I think the Attorney General briefed the council on this earlier, and I echo what she said, which is that there's a whole lot of people involved in this effort, a lot of really talented men and women, lawyers and advocates, and as the Attorney General pointed out, really everyone who's advocated on this issue played a role in getting us to this point. So the affirmation by the court that ICWA is constitutional by a 7-2 margin is significant. We know, though, Mr. Speaker, that every time in Indian country we celebrate a victory, we've got to be braced for the next challenge. And that challenge could well come in the courts, it could come in the Congress, it could come before any number of federal agencies. But any corner of our world where there is a challenge, I feel certain that the Cherokee Nation is ready to lead, and I think we demonstrated some leadership in this case. One of the highlights since we last visited was the groundbreaking of our first wellness center under the Public Health and Wellness Fund Act. As you know, Mr. Speaker, that piece of legislation enabled the Cherokee Nation to fund those kind of initiatives. So in Adair County, we have broken ground on a wellness center, the Mary L. Holland Carson Wellness Center. It is what I believe will be the first of many large investments over a long period of time, but we've already seen some more modest but still impactful investments. So we have, of course, walking trails that have gone in. We've had other investments made under the Public Health and Wellness Fund Act. So I think that law is working, but to see it work in the way that it is going to operate in Adair County, bringing wellness opportunities to citizens in that area, I think is important. And we can look elsewhere in the Cherokee Nation at the Salina Health Center, where of course that is a major healthcare investment, but it will have a wellness component. So I feel like the efforts of this council and the deputy chief have really brought us to a point where we're orienting more towards getting to wellness. Irrespective of how we get there, we're giving folks an opportunity to find a path to wellness, and I think that's a measure of progress. Another highlight since we last visited is the acquisition of the Will Rogers birthplace, and again, so many folks were involved in this. I want to particularly thank Councilor Austin for his advocacy. I don't know if you know this, Mr. Speaker, but Councilor Austin is a fan of Will Rogers. But he's also got deep knowledge on the subject and is very passionate about making sure that we keep that story alive. And I know it's important to all of us. And I also appreciate Cherokee Nation businesses' efforts and our Attorney General's office as we work through a period of years where we had to navigate and negotiate a way to acquire that property. But it certainly was a great time for celebration when we recently closed on that property. And of course, we will begin investing in it and keeping that story alive. And it is something that I think will benefit the Cherokee Nation for years to come, not only as a cultural asset, but also as a part of economic development, because cultural tourism is important, and I believe that'll draw more folks to that area to help learn the Cherokee story, and again, good for the economy. We always are pleased when we can celebrate a new community building, and in District 11, we visited Bowling Springs. And Bowling Springs has been put on the map a lot over the years, but I think most notably because of local organizing. A group called People Community Incorporated has been organizing, and under the Housing, Jobs, and Sustainable Communities Act, we were able to invest in a new community building. It's a beautiful building. It is going to serve a great purpose in that community, just as the other investments we've made in community buildings have done the same. Since we last visited, we also announced a new program involving our WIC participants, adding some buying power for our WIC participants. Those in Cherokee Nation's WIC program will get additional resources under a pilot program that involves both cash assistance and also an opportunity to go to farmers market. So it's farmers market season, and we'll be rolling out more information about how our Cherokee WIC participants can access fresh foods and vegetables through the farmers market and get some additional cash assistance. Of course, since we last visited, Mr. Speaker, the Cherokee Nation conducted an election, and I think one of the most noteworthy parts about that election is voter turnout was up. We always want voter turnout to go up. It was up by 24% over 4 years ago. I want to express my appreciation to the Cherokee people, if I could, from the podium, for the opportunity to serve another 4 years. I know others on the ballot who are incumbents on this council were reelected, and of course the deputy chief. The highlight of my night is that the deputy chief of the Cherokee Nation was reelected, because he's a good man, and I know he also appreciates the fact that he gets to serve another 4 years. Mr. Speaker, members of the council, it's an honor to serve, and I look at it that way and appreciate it very much. So, Mr. Speaker, that concludes the State of the Nation, except to note that we have in the audience tonight a number of people who really make these programs operate. Of course, our frontline employees do so much of the work, but the leadership of this government falls so squarely on the shoulders of executive directors, and we have a number of them here this evening. And of course, I'm in front of the podium and in front of the camera often. The deputy chief is as well. Many of us are speaking at public events, but often our executive directors are not necessarily held up as perhaps they should be. And I wanted tonight, if you could, we could just recognize our executive directors who are here, and not all of them could be here, but all of them do tremendous work, Mr. Speaker.
Absolutely, sir. That's a great idea.
Thank you. And so we have executive directors here, and we could, if just a moment, just not only for the council, they know who you are, but I think the audience watching may want to recognize who you are. So we'll start with Mr. Payton and work our way over from there.
Still the God who thou is, just what thou know, and all how it came, I will consider the nation. The name of the Father, the Son, and the Son, and that is
I'm Samantha Hendricks, County Associate Executive Director.
I'm still Mark Rankin, State Service Director.
David Moore, Director of Management Resources. Thrilled to be part of this. We've done so much under this administration and the previous one, and we got 4 more years. So.
We've got more executives here. Paula?
Paula Starr, Information Technology.
course, Mr. Speaker, you know, cabinet members provide exceptional leadership, and they're here, and I appreciate those folks that are here, and I appreciate everyone who could not be here. But I want you to know, Mr. Speaker, the executive leadership of this tribe does such tremendous work. I rely on them a great deal. I know the deputy chief does. I hope I've not missed anyone, but I appreciate everyone. Oh, Mr. Enlow over there. I apologize, Mr. Enlow. Yes.
I was trying to hide.
Yeah. All right.
Probably my executive director of housing program.
All right. All right. Well, in any case, Mr. Speaker, they mean a great deal to me, and I wanted to make sure to share my thoughts with you tonight about their leadership.
Before you step away from the podium, you know, you said there was something that we didn't know about, you know, Councilman Austin, and, you know, loving that. But there's something you don't know either. I had a phone call 2 nights ago at 1:30, a person screaming frantically. I couldn't understand what they said, and then finally I understood it was Councilman Austin saying the tornado was going toward Will Rogers' birthplace. That was on the news.
Right.
I saw that and I thought of him. I thought, oh no.
He was running to the scene.
He was.
You have no idea how close the truth is.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
But on another note, Chief, I would like to say a little bit about a trip we went on here recently to North Carolina. And I would like to say how proud I am of this council. You know, anytime that our sovereignty can be attacked in many different ways, whether that's simply our name or big things like treaty rights. I mean, that is massive to our tribe. And I just want to tell you that every one of the council members who were there at that meeting were on the same page, and they were absolutely focused in on not letting anything happen that would degrade our sovereignty in any way. And I want to say it was an honor to be there with all of you. It truly was. They represented our nation well, sir.
Well, that's the report I got. Thank you.
Okay, next, Cherokee Warrior Veteran Awards. Do we have any tonight?
We got one, sir.
All right.
We had 2 and one couldn't make it, so.
Well, Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen of the council, again, it is an honor to be here tonight to recognize our Cherokee Warriors. As many of you know, as we always talk about how Indian country really stepped up always to the call of duty when it comes to defend the things that we hold sacred. And Cherokees have served in such a large capacity, but today I think about a lot of different things. And Chief mentioned something this morning. He talked about reconciliation. So I want to share something with you that really just puts it all into perspective for me. 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse, I believe that's 18. My eyes aren't as good as they used to be here. But it does say that all this is from God, who reconciled us to himself through Christ and gave us the ministry of reconciliation. So if you know, you talk about times of war, talk about times in this country, you talk about what Juneteenth represents. It represents reconciliation. But it's a ministry, and that's a ministry that each of us could be a part of. Just like when we get behind our soldiers that have been across seas, we get behind our soldiers when they come back home to help them reconcile some of the differences that they've come to. So that piece of that ministry, we all belong to that. So that's just something that this morning, as Chief was talking and as I was reading a little bit of the verse of today, I just thought I would share that with each of us. So thank you for that time. Today we have one veteran with us today. So let's council, Chief, Secretary of Veterans Affairs, let's give a heartfelt Cherokee Warrior welcome to Mr. Alan Earl Ward. Mr. Ward joined the United States Army on July 23rd of 1973. Mr. Ward completed basic training at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. After basic training, Mr. Ward was sent to Fort Hood in Texas for on-the-job training where he was assigned to the 289th General Supply Company. Mr. Ward trained as a wheel vehicle mechanic and after completion of the training was cross-trained in heavy equipment and was transferred to the 664 Ordnance Company. Mr. Ward was sent to many temporary duty assignments with 1st Cavalry Division and 2nd Armored Division. The last temporary duty assignment, Mr. Ward was stationed in Fort Chaffee, Arkansas to assist with the coming of the Vietnamese to the United States. Mr. Ward completed his time in the service in Fort Hood, Texas, and was honorably discharged on July 22nd, 1976, with the title of Specialist 4th Class. Medals of Service: National Defense Service Medal, Good Conduct Medal. Mr. Ward, on behalf of a grateful nation, sir, we thank you for your service to our country.
All right, gentlemen, right here on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, perfect. Thank you.
Any words?
Oh, listen, that's council.
All right, 1, 2, 3. All right, I got quite a few.
Mr. Ward, would you like to say anything to the audience?
It was an honor to serve such a great nation, but it was more of an honor to serve as a Cherokee. Director Foreman promised he will make up for you not being there. Oh. Okay. All right. Thank you. Mr. Speaker, that's it. All I got.
Well, anything? Okay. Mr. Speaker, members of the council, thank you once again, and just appreciate your time, your talent, and most of all, your diligence in what you do. So thank you for each of you representing not just your district, but representing what it means to hold this title that you have, what it means to hold that sovereignty sacred, just as we hold our individuals, our elders, our children, and our warriors, and most of all, our Cherokee women. So, Waddell, thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. All right, that brings us down to action of unfinished business, none pending, committee reports. Our monthly reports, we have our CEO of our Cherokee Nation businesses, Mr. Chuck Garrett. Come on down.
Good evening, councilors. It's always an honor to be here and deliver our June report. A couple things. One, because of the rescheduling that occurred for this meeting, our financials for May haven't yet come out through the regular process. So that explains my absence today at the E&F, where we are still working on our April financials. So you'll be receiving May here shortly. But, you know, notwithstanding that, we continue to move the ball up the court. And a couple of things that I wanted to mention to you, we passed a milestone just the other day, our 10,000th employee. So I think we're like 10,035 or something like that now. But that's quite a progress. When I joined C&B almost 10 years ago now, I think we were about 35, maybe 4,000 employees. So we're making a lot of progress and certainly representative of the growth that our businesses have enjoyed. So I just wanted to note that progress, and also I have to take just a second to give a shout out to a couple of my former colleagues at CMB, Samantha Hendricks, Paula Starr, have moved on to make an impact here, and you know, we enjoyed them and benefited from their professionalism and expertise for many years, glad that we were able to share and watch them continue to make a huge impact. So thank you, ladies, for that. We had a storm in Tulsa and other places, but we seem to have taken the brunt of it. Hard Rock probably sustained the most damage, although I think we just all consider ourselves incredibly lucky, fortunate, and grateful for not having more damage. Certainly, God was looking down on us. It was pretty touch and go there, but we have power at the Hard Rock, and the generators that we did use in our portfolio all work the way they're supposed to. We've continued to operate. In fact, yesterday we had 200 check-ins at the Hard Rock because folks don't have power, so they're seeking shelter basically. And I walked the floor yesterday afternoon, and it was kind of like a New Year's Eve. It was pretty impressive, all the activity, and so we really are playing a role for the community, but also our employees. Glad to report that we've been checking on them, and we really did dodge a bullet there. That was something crazy, but we do have some facilities that are out. And some buildings that are not powered right now. Those employees are working remotely, and we'll just make it work. Some predictions are it'll be late in the week before we have power to some of the homes here in Tulsa. I think 180,000 citizens were without, Tulsa citizens were without power. So just wanted to provide a little bit of a report there on the state of our facilities. Three sort of softer notes here. Very proud to share that for the 5th year, Cherokee Federal has been named a top 100 federal contractor by Washington Technology. That's a group out of Washington that monitors federal contracting. We landed in the 55th spot on the 2023 Top 100. That doesn't sound like maybe as impressive as it should, because you're talking about Boeing, you're talking about some of the aerodynamics, some of the largest of the large contractors that are between us and number one. And of course, we strive to continue to be successful in that spot, and I have no doubt we will be. Also wanted to mention that the vehicle charging stations have been completed at the Anna Mitchell Cultural and Welcome Center. So that is something that really represents our ongoing effort to minimize our carbon footprint, try to be good corporate citizens, try to pay respect to our environment, and that is just one example of how we're doing. And of course, you all know that that's located there in Bonito, the historic Route 66. Just one cultural note that we're seeking art for the 28th annual Cherokee Homecoming Art Show. The All Cherokee Juried Show is open to the citizens of Cherokee Nation, Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians, United Katua Band of Cherokee Indians as well. Artists of distinction including Cherokee National Treasures, UKB Tradition Keepers, and EBCI Beloved Persons are exempt from jury, but must complete the online entry process by the July 7th deadline to participate. Selected artists will compete for more than $15,000 in 2 divisions, traditional and cultural. So that's always a great show, as you all know, and 2023 will be no exception. So happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Does anybody have any questions for our CEO? All right, sir, it doesn't look like there's any. Great report.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Appreciate being here.
Okay, under old business, none pending. New business, out of rules. Councilman Callison?
Mr. Speaker, on number 6, I would like to table it for a month, please.
We have a motion to table. Do we have a second for a month? Oh, well, I'm sorry. You gonna make a motion?
Make a motion, yes, sir. I'd like to make a
add-
motion that we table this article for a month, please.
To add it.
To add it, okay. Okay. All right. Make a motion that we add this to the agenda, please.
We'll have 1 through all resolutions,
Okay, all of them, yes, sir.
6 through 10.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, we have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Now, Councilman, take number 1, please.
Yes, sir. Now I'd like to make a motion that we table this one for a month, please. Yes.
Number-
Number 6.
Well, no, we were on number 1. We're at number 1. Go ahead and read it. Number 1 in your book.
Resolution in support of the Boys and Girls Clubs of a resolution confirming the renomination of Michael Doublehead as Commissioner of the Cherokee Nation Tax Commission. I put this in the form of a motion.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. All right, number 2, Eo, would you take that, please?
This resolution confirming the renomination of Steve Wilson as a Commissioner of the Cherokee Nation Tax Commission. I put this in form of a motion.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, number 3, Dr. Dobbins, would you take that, please?
Resolution confirming the nomination of Lori Enlow as governing board member of the Cherokee Nation Comprehensive Care Agency, known as PACE. Put that in the form of a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Number 4, Councilman Paczkowski, would you take that, please?
A resolution confirming the nomination of Ivan Devitt as governing board member of the Cherokee Nation Comprehensive Care Agency, PACE, and I put that in the form of a motion. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, motion carries. Number 5, Josh Sams, would you take that, please?
This is a resolution confirming the nomination of Bill Anderson, DL, as governing board member of the Cherokee Nation Comprehensive Care Agency, also known as PACE, and I put this in form of a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. 6.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to table this for 1 month, please.
We have a motion to table for a month. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, that brings us out of Community Service Committee, number 7. Sean, would you take that, please?
Yes, sir. Resolution approving and authorizing the submission of the fiscal year 2024 Indian Housing Plan to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. Put that in the form of a motion.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. At Executive and Finance Committee, number 8. Councilman Austin, would you take that, please?
Yes, sir. This is a resolution authorizing the Cherokee Nation to donate items to Cherokee Nation businesses, and I put that in the form of a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Number 9, Councilman Kidwell, will you take that, please?
Yes, Speaker. This is an act amending Legislative Act number 30, TAC 22, authorizing the comprehensive capital budget for fiscal year 2023, Mod 7, and declaring an emergency, and I move for its approval.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. And number 10, Councilman Coates, would you take that, please?
This is an act amending Legislative Act 30-22, authorizing the comprehensive operating budget for fiscal year 2023, Mod 9, and declaring an emergency. I move for its approval.
Okay.
Mod 9A.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. That's all of our resolutions and business for today. Are there any announcements to my right? Councilman Austin?
Yes, I'd like to bring honor to the memory of two great Cherokee citizens who passed in my district in the last month. One was Don Summers. He was able to celebrate his 90th birthday in May. He was a Korean War veteran, and one of his goals when I talked to him back a few months earlier was he wanted to live long enough to vote in this Cherokee election, and he did. So I know that was important to him, and he was a true American hero. He was exposed to the nuclear explosions, and his health paid the price for that for many years after he struggled with things. And then I'd like to also remember Virginia McMullen. She turned 102 2 weeks before she passed, but 2 weeks before she passed, she was able to, I don't know if it was enjoy or endure, but she was able to be serenaded by the chief, deputy chief, and myself in a version of Happy Birthday for her 102nd birthday. And she was a wonderful lady who I will dearly miss. 102 years old.
Councilman Crittenden.
Yes, sir. Speaker, you mentioned some things about Tri-Council. I just really feel like that we were honored to serve with you as well. You were very knowledgeable, prepared, and strong. So, good job. Thank you.
Well, thank you, sir. Anybody to my left? EO?
Yes, I'm going to announce that Les McConnell passed yesterday, and he's from Bayan. He was a great family man and just one of them good old boys.
Victoria?
Yes, we've had a death in our community of Veneta, and this was a proud Cherokee, Mr. Ray Irving. He had a long illness, suffered for many years, was taken care of by his wife, Ruth Irving, who is one of the family members that donated the land for our People's Community Center at Bowling Springs. I lift up the family for prayer. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Speaker, my apologies for not asking a council member to do this because it's not my place, but my aunt, Jenny Mae Smith, passed away this morning. She was a full-blood speaker, wonderful lady, and she will be missed. If we could remember her.
Thank you, sir. Okay, if there's no more announcements, I would just like to say in closing, today was a good day. It was an exciting day. We've had some great news. Brackeen decision was awesome, but for some reason, before I came, I told you I felt really good about today. And just to see you guys, all of you before, the 4th of July holiday. But I think some of that too, or a lot of it maybe, is, we get 4 more years of Hoskin Warner. And the things that have been done for this nation's people, I am so proud of. And I can only ask myself, with all the good things that have happened, just think what's going to happen in 4 more years. So, Chief, Deputy, congratulations. We look forward to serving with you for another 4 years. And with that, I'll say everybody have a happy 4th of July. Be safe. And I need one more motion.
To adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn and a second. All in favor? Aye. We are adjourned.